Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today is the update slash recap for No Pan Left Behind. So I'm gonna go over everything that I've used in the month of July. I'm gonna go over my total eyeshadows that I've used this month, or that were like the shadows that I touched for the first time this month. Because in this project I'm trying to use all of my eyeshadows at least once this year. So I have made a spreadsheet in which I will color in an eyeshadow once I've used it, according to the color of that month. And that way I'm trying to track if I use all of my eyeshadows this year. So in the last update, we've added some palettes to my collection. So I'm going to show you the graph. I've made it digital. You will see all of the shadows colored in up until July, and then July will be orange. So I'm hoping you can see that now. The orange shadows are appearing. So this month I have used 69 eyeshadows, which is good. I don't even remember what like my total per month should have been. Throughout this whole year so far, I've added palettes, I've decluttered palettes. The decluttered palettes are still in the spreadsheet. I made sure to first do No Pan Left Behind on them before deciding to declutter them. So I'm just gonna leave them in my spreadsheet, but if you're curious as to what I got rid of, I will link that video for you guys in the cards, so you can go check that out. And then this month, I think the only palette that I really wanted to focus on was this very big palette, which holds almost all of my Glam Shop singles. Now, in my spreadsheet, I have a little Glam Shop palette, the Z Colorum, and I will make sure to put it on screen for you guys, which was this one. Oh gosh, there's one loose in here. I can hear it. Okay. It was this one. If you can see in the little palette drawing, there's one that I finished up that I blacked out, and then there's 4 that I decluttered that have, I think, a red X through them, or maybe orange. I think that's what I did. Just to remind myself, hey, I did not use up these shadows, I just got rid of them. I depotted the shadows that were in this palette, and not all survived, and some I just did not feel like keeping, so I did black those out. And then there's the big palette with singles, but because I've moved everything around, I wasn't really sure what shadows were which, and I just decided to do No Pan Left Behind on this entire big palette and this small one, so that I could color in all of those boxes for the Glam Shop shadows, just so I didn't have to think about which one I still had to use, if that makes any sense. So for this palette, this is what it currently looks like. So the ones missing are in this palette. So I've used all of these shadows at least once. Now some were already colored in, but I just made sure to touch all of them so that I knew that I've definitely touched all of the shadows that are in here. And then I did the same with this one. So I used all of them and just colored in all of those Glam Shop boxes. So those are done. Then I have 2 more that I completed. The first one is the Zoeva Blank Fusion. Now, one of these shadows rolled into my Pando's eyeshadows, the yellow one, and I decided to just No Pan Left Behind this while I had it out. So I did that. And then I decided to also do the same for the Cocoa Blends, because I was like, let's just get those out of this project, get them out of my mind. And these are fairly easy to use because they're quite neutral. I do have to say these aren't my favorite formula. I don't know if it's because they're getting a little bit older. I think they're gonna be about 3.5 years old right now. I'm not really sure, but I feel like the shimmers are a little bit lacklustrous, and maybe it's because I've just discovered better shimmer formulas this year and last year. I don't know, but I've completed these, so I'm happy with that. And then I did sort of dabble into some of the new ColourPop palettes, but I did not complete any yet, so we shall see. Not really pushing myself to use them yet, so we'll just leave that as is. Maybe I want to use them, maybe I don't want to use them. And the other thing is I rolled in a new palette for my project Level Up. I'm still working on my level 2 palette. That is already completed, no pan left behind. But because I only had to do certain usage goal and hit 2 pans, I was like, I'm gonna roll in level 3, and this is my level 3 palette. This is the Mica Beauty Shop Serpent palette, and I have not completed no pan left behind on this one yet. I have still 5 shadows to use out of this palette, but I'm getting there, so this will definitely be done next month, so that's good. And then for new palettes that I want to roll in, that I want to focus on doing no pan left behind on, I have this one. This is the ColourPop Lizzie McGuire palette. It's called What Dreams Are Made Of, but it was from the Lizzie McGuire collection. I just call it the ColourPop Lizzie McGuire palette. This is what it looks like. Now I have used a couple of shadows out of this palette already. Let me check. So I've used this whole row, then these two, this like orangey one, and this neutral, I want to say brown, but it's like orangey brown. So I have these 3 at the bottom, this pink, and then the glitter to use. And because it's a very summery color story, I feel like I should roll it in now, because I don't think I would want to use these shadows in fall. So I'm gonna roll this in. And one of the shades out of that palette is in my Pan Those Eyeshadows. So it is out already to be used. So I'm hoping I can use the shadows that I have not used yet and be done with that palette for no pan left behind. Then there's also this other Glam Shop palette that I have that came into my collection later with some singles. Now I'm kind of scared to hold this up because this shadow already has fallen out once. But from this palette, let me put it like this, I still have to use these bottom 3. So that's 3 shadows, shouldn't be hard, but then this palette is complete as well. So I'm gonna try my best to do that. And then the last ones that I want to roll in. So the big palettes are moving over and they're done. I'm just trying to find some smaller palettes or some palettes that maybe I don't have a lot of shadows that I still need to use, because that's a little bit easier. I have these. These are the Beauty Bay Disney palettes. Now I did complete the Matte Hatter one. I have that here. That is this one. So I did complete that. And I still have left the Bambi one, the Cheshire Cat, Jungle Book, and Dumbo. I don't know if I can do all 4 in 1 month, but there's some palettes that have a more summery color story, like the Dumbo one. Those are not shadows that I will probably use in fall. And then I think Cheshire Cat, that's also, well, some shadows are more summery. I mean, these I could still use in fall, so Maybe these palettes are just good for the transition from summer to fall. Not that I really want to transition to fall yet, because I love summer, but anyway. And then here's Bambi. Now this one is a little bit more neutral, so that could work even after summer. And then I also have Jungle Book, and these are also more muted tones, like softer tones, so could work for fall, but I just want to keep these out and use them, because if I don't, I think at the end of the year I will be stuck with these and I'll have to force myself to do colorful looks that I don't really feel like doing in that season. So I just want to start using them. And they're small palettes, so it should be easy enough to use at least some of the shadows that are in here. All right, and then that is it. So I think I have enough to work on as of right now. These palettes, I want to complete them. Of course, I might dip into other shadows that I still need to use, but for now, I really want to focus on the palettes that I've just showed you. It's more of like a guideline for myself, a little help to get me to use the shadows and to, I'm not really planning out the usage, but if I don't put them out in my everyday makeup basket thing, then I'm sure I will forget. So just putting them out there reminds me to use them, and it will hopefully come a little bit more like natural, instead of me being in November and thinking, oh my gosh, I have to use all of these shadows. I'm gonna have to force myself to put these colors on my eyes. I don't really want that. Might still happen, who knows? But for now, I'm trying to avoid that by just rolling these palettes into my everyday makeup basket. So that will be all. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in one of my next videos. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.